man. We got an OG in the space when it comes to finances. Entrepreneur Mark Tilbury, thank you so much for coming. I'm happy to have you. We wanted you on the show for a bit, but I know you guys are abroad, and it was a little hard to coordinate. But you guys are here in South Florida, and we're happy to have you. Who you are, but the audience might not. Can you please introduce yourself to the people that might not know you?
Yeah, well, I'm on YouTube. My name's Mark Tilbury. I basically talk about finance and helping people level up, particularly youngsters. A lot of youngsters without dads in particular. But really, it's just basic financial knowledge. And unfortunately, when I was young, we didn't have guys like you or myself on the internet. There was no internet, believe it or not. How did we ever exist in those times? And I would have liked to have learnt the lessons all you guys are putting out now when I was younger. So I think it's sort of partly a duty to do that from my age, and to have life experience. Unfortunately, you've got to look this sort of age. That's the only way you get it, isn't it? You know. So I think passing on that baton to the youngsters is a good way to go, and I really enjoy getting the comments back of how people have improved their lives, leveled up, and starting to invest and sort of building the foundations of their kingdom. That's what we want, and it's a similar subject to yourself, I think. So,
well, you did a good job with your son and his gang.
For sure,
very good job.
For sure. So a lot of people know you as a successful entrepreneur, YouTuber, many different hats. But can you kind of take us back in time to how you became the man that you are today? Give us your origin story.
Well, I can give you that. I can try and break it down a little bit because it might be a bit long otherwise.
No worries.
My first thing of selling was I used to fish a lot, and I used to go down to my local pier, and I literally used to pull so many mackerel fish out of the sea.
Was this back where in the UK was this?
Yeah, this was in Dover in the UK, yeah.
Okay.
And I used to go around my estate selling the fish, believe it or not, and we used to sell a lot of fish. Started off 10 for £1, but we didn't sell any, so we had to really rethink that business model. And we found out selling 5 for £1 actually worked because 10 was just too many. People didn't want that many fish. And then from
what
there
year was
on,
this roughly?
Oh, it's hard to remember years. I was about 12 years old. I actually wasn't allowed to go night fishing where you could catch the most fish. So I used to get up early and we used to catch a 4 o'clock train to get down to Dover to be able to do the fishing, which was great fun. And then really you could see that as a side hustle nowadays. It moved on to buying and selling cars. We used to do all sorts of different things, anything to earn a buck. And obviously nowadays it's a little bit different because most people don't want to do physical things to earn their money. So you can get online and do your digital products and things like that, which is obviously nowadays a much better way of doing things. I mean, I've got people that help us now, particularly with shorts and things like that, and they're earning £30,000-40,000 a month at least just from doing shorts editing as a side hustle.
Yeah.
So the money's out there for these guys to go and earn, and they can start building themselves up, can't they? It's not that difficult.
What year did you graduate high school?
Well, I didn't actually graduate high school. It's not the same as what it would be here. When I was younger, you could actually leave school at 16 years old if you wanted to. And I wouldn't say I hated school. That's probably too strong a word. I sort of tolerated it because you had to go. So I decided to leave at 16. I became a carpenter's apprentice. So I was making cabinets, staircases, that sort of all learning to, certainly. But I got very disillusioned with that. I did get through with honours in my apprenticeship. But I was given a load of really bad jobs, and most people will know my story online. I was made to make these wooden trash bins, and I had a big discussion with the boss, and he said, "No, look, we're making these for Walmart. We're going to be making them for the next 5 to 10 years, depending on how long the contract lasts, and that's your job. That's what you're going to be doing." And it comes to a point where you go, no more of that. There's more to me than that. I want either the better jobs or I'm going to go and do my own thing.
Was it at that point that you said entrepreneurship is the only way?
Well, I always wanted a business, always. I had a mentor when I was younger who didn't even know he was a mentor to me. You know, and I think that's the best type, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, he'd give me snippets of wisdom, and I'd say, "Oh, that's great. I'm taking that in." And I think because he saw that I was absorbing that information, he'd give me even more. So I always wanted to have a model shop, radio control models, so aeroplanes, helicopters, radio control cars, all that sort of thing. Very into it as a youngster, and wherever I looked, I couldn't find a complete model shop that sold everything to do with models. So that was the plan. So I drew up a business plan. It took me ages. I mean, no one knows how to do that sort of thing, do they?
Yeah.
And
Especially back in the day.
Yeah, never taught.
What year was this? Just so we can give the audience a perspective.
It's very hard to give years.
70s,
Probably,
80s?
80s.
This is the 80s?
Probably 88, around that sort of area. You ran that sort of area anyway.
Okay.
And you made a good point about mentors. How did you find your mentor?
He found me. He found me. I think what a lot of youngsters nowadays don't do, they don't put themselves out there. I was involved with a model flying club, and obviously not many youngsters were involved with that. It was mostly adults. So I think if you can get involved with anything like, I don't know, just caddying at a golf club or anything like that, you get to speak to the older generation, shall we say, and you know, if you're there to absorb information, people want to give information, and you know, absorb it because you'll get even more. You know, and it's priceless, really. Just for your confidence as much as anything. I mean, because a lot of people struggle to talk. Well, certainly youngsters I speak to struggle to talk to the older generation or people maybe in authority, and that comes across particularly in interviews and things like that. It's sort of like, would you like to ask me some questions? It's like, oh. You know, it's very difficult for them. So I think confidence is a big thing. It can get you a long way in life, that's for sure.
Sorry, he joined a club, or you could say a hobby, that has many people that, for example, in that area would be successful or have money, because that's a very, I want to say, rich or affluent hobby to have.
Yeah. And you're around older individuals as well. Yeah, it's a good screening tool.
It's good for networking too.
Yeah.
That's
No,
really
especially before social media.
Yeah.
Just as golf is as well, you know.
Yes.
Because most golf clubs, as a youngster, you'll get in for very, very cheap money. You know, once you're a member in there, you talk to a lot of high net worth individuals.
Absolutely.
So, and that's going to levitate you, isn't it? Because you're going to get an abundance mindset. Once you've got an abundance mindset, you know there's no limit, there's no cap to what you can earn if you want to do that.
So take us through how you started your first business with your mentor along your side.
Well, my first business, I mean, he showed me how to do a business plan, so we went through that. It took me a long, long time, lots of thought, lots of work, took it to the bank, made an appointment to see the bank manager, waited, I think it's something like a month and a half for this appointment. It took a long time. Went in there, and he turned me down flat.
Wow.
Absolutely flat. I mean, I only think he gave me 10 minutes, of which he was paying attention for the first 30 seconds. He just could not be bothered with us, and it was more like a duty that you had to do these appointments. Now, I came out of that branch of that bank, and I was faced really with two decisions. I actually stood there and thought, what can I do? You know, is my dream gone? You know, because it could have been at that point, or do I continue and try and find someone else? Now, I could have turned right, could have turned left. I decided to turn right. I walked past the next bank, which was next door, and I thought, do you know what? I'm going to give it a go. So I went straight in there. I said, I've got an appointment to see the manager at 11 o'clock. She said, you're not on the list. I went, well, yeah, it's 5 to 11. I'm a bit early. And she said, well, he is free, but you're not on the list. I said, no, you've made a mistake. Went in there, secured the loan.
Nice.
Wow.
The manager actually said to me, he said, right, I believe in youngsters, and I believe in what you're going to do. The preparation's great, and I'll be your first customer.
That's amazing.
What a difference.
Wow.
So the first person you spoke to, was he like a loan officer or something, or was it?
He was he was the manager of I won't say the branch, or the bank itself, but he was the manager of that bank. And in those days, the manager had leeway to lend what he needed to lend to whoever he wanted to lend it to.
So did you go to like another bank, or did you go to the same bank?
Literally turned right, the next bank down the street. That's the one I walked into.
And then you just said, hey, I'm here to talk to. Okay.
Yeah, just blanked it.
Fuck it, that's nice, man. And it was to get a business loan. How much did they give you?
It was £22,000, which back in the day when we got £2 to the dollar was about £44,000.
Yeah,
that's a lot back in the day.
40 to 50K in today's dollars. Okay.
Yeah.
And when you told them the business plan, what did you tell them specifically that you think got you the loan?
I think the confidence. He knew I'd blagged at the meeting, and he thought that was quite good. I think that was. It sort of reminds me a bit, Suits, the start of the program Suits, where he goes in and blags a meeting. It was a bit like that, and I think he respected that, and he went, this guy's going to go out and do something. If he's got the nerve to come in and blag a meeting with me, and the plan looks good, we'll go with it.
Question for you: looking back, this is 30 plus years ago now. At this point, right? Looking back, what were the differences between the first discussion where you got declined versus the second one where you got approved? What was some of the main... Well, obviously we talked about the confidence factor. Was there anything else?
I wouldn't say there was any difference from myself. I would say there was already a predetermined answer from the first one.
Okay.
And the second one, I think he had a certain amount that he had to lend out to start-up businesses. And remember, back in the day, if you wanted to sell a product, it wasn't like it is today where you can do it online or all that sort of stuff. Literally, you had to have a shop.
Yeah, brick-and-mortar businesses.
You had to buy lots of stock.
Yeah.
You have to have everything to be able to start up, which was quite a big step then. I mean, it seemed like a big deal as well at the time, but when you look back, when you're young, you can take so many risks and it doesn't matter because, at the end of the day, you might take an L on it or whatever, but really you're going to win because the lesson you've learned, even from a loss when you're 20 years old, is nothing.
Yeah.
I'm taking away never give up. And even though you take L's, like you said before, if you don't give up, you keep trying, things can happen for you. Now, you mentioned as well having the mentor, but also in this case, did you know back then, because you're a legit millionaire now, did you know back then you were going to be a millionaire when you were younger?
Well, we actually did a video just recently. When I was at school, 14 years old, we were all put into a lecture theatre, and we put this in the video, actually. It's quite strange. And they said, write down the 3 things you're going to have. And I wrote down, I'm going to be a millionaire.
Wow.
I'm going to have a Ferrari. And then he said house. I put mansion. And then the next thing the teacher said was, right, and this was everything. They don't know what you've written down, but they just looked at everyone and said, look, let's be realistic. Most you can have none of that stuff.
Wow, yeah. See?
Yeah.
None of it. And I'm sure that is to push you down while you're in the school system. Of
course.
Because they don't want you being entrepreneurial. They want you to, it don't matter what shape you go into school at, you might be triangle or rectangle, whatever shape it is, you've got to come out as a cog to fit in the machine.
Absolutely. You got to become a disposable part.
Yeah, and the longer you're in the system, in my opinion, the more a cog shape you become, and the harder it is for you to actually change that shape going forward.
I agree.
Because once you're locked into a really comfortable job, and the danger is in the word comfortable, that's it.
Yeah.
You're there. I know you were in a very secure job.
Yeah.
And I'm
It was scary
guessing
to
that
leave.
was really hard.
It was very difficult to leave. Most people never leave a comfortable government job making 6 figures with a pension and retirement and everything.
That's what everyone says, isn't it? I've got friends in jobs, in government-style jobs, and I say, why'd you do it? You're more than this. And they go, oh, the pension. I went, if I'm going to have to work the whole of my life till I get to 66, 68, just because it's a good pension at the end, well, that's not for me.
Yeah.
I can make that pension myself. That freedom figure can come a lot sooner if I'm doing it than way back then.
But there's a common trend here I see with millionaires. They believe in themselves from the very beginning. There's a level of like, okay, you know what? I know who I am or what I'm about. And even though I might not get the answer today, eventually I'll get there. So the belief is very important.
Yeah. Wow. So obviously the internet is here. Right.
Yeah. Big change.
Yeah.
Social media too as well.
Social media. Brick and mortar businesses, I don't know in the UK, but in the United States have kind of taken a little bit of a hit. How have you been able to adapt and overcome with a more digitalized world?
Well, if I could have foreseen exactly what was going to happen, the best bet for me would have been just to shut all the shops, just shut them overnight, pack everything up, start again from absolute ground zero, but with some money. That would be the best way. And the reason being is because I think the transition from traditional business to internet business is actually really difficult. But to start as an internet business is really quite straightforward.
Yes.
And that's sort of contradicts itself in a way, because you think, well, you've already got all the gear, you've already got all the contacts, you've already got this and that and so on. it's got to be easy, isn't it? But it's so different. And while you've got one taking all of your attention, you can't really concentrate on the other properly, even with the right teams in place. And that's why you see a lot of these companies going down. And you think, well, they should have gone online. Well, they tried, but they couldn't. They couldn't adapt fast enough. And that's quite a challenge. But now we operate on every platform we can, to be honest. We have retail sales, we have obviously all the internet sales, be it on all the different platforms, our own websites, multiple websites. We also have a manufacturing side to our business and a B2B distribution as well. So we try and cover every aspect of that side of our business.
Real quick, you spent years in business. Obviously you have a lot of knowledge here. What would you say is things you've learned, like 2 things you've learned that most people don't know in business?
Well, what I always say we've always done is to provide value to our customers. Honest, good value. Now, some people think that just means the best price. And I've never, ever subscribed to this idea of being, keep dropping pricing all the time. What I mean by supplying good value is, you've got your experience, you've got the actual, the niceness of the environment that someone's coming into. But if you always provide good value, regardless of what you're doing, you deserve to make a profit, and you will make a profit. You shouldn't expect sometimes to make lots of money. And in fact, sometimes when you provide something for free or whatever it happens to be, the karma does bring it back to you. If you put it out there, good information, good value to people, the rewards come.
Well said.
Do you agree with the sentiment that there's 3 traits, either low price, quality, speed? Pick 2.
Low price,
quality and speed. So you can only pick 2. So in other words, if you have quality and speed, it's going to probably cost you. But if you have low price and quality, it's probably going to be slow.
Yeah, I think there's always a cost, and I think, again, with the internet, you see it all the time, particularly with drop shipping. You order something, you go, oh, yeah, I like that red cup, particularly with the white liner on it. I want a bunch of those. I'll order. Oh, that's the best price. You order it, and it takes a month to come because it's come from a drop shipper. And you think, oh, it's missed my party. What's the point of that? I'll never use them again. And you will never use them again. That's it. End of story. And I think you generally get 3 chances with people when you sell to them. I think if you give them a good service 3 times, they're there for life. If you give them good service, then bad, then good, then and they're not sure. So you always try to hit them with good service, and also be consistent with your service.
Can you talk to the people about what index funds are, the importance of them, and how people can get started?
Well, the main thing to remember is that it's a lot of different companies that you're actually investing in. Whenever we speak about stocks, be it stocks or be it index funds, we always get in the comments, I don't know which stocks to pick. I don't know what to do, blah, blah, blah. And I've got to check them every day. I say, no, look, all you've got to remember, if you buy an index fund, it's a basket of lots of different companies. All the major companies in the USA are in the S&P 500. So you're investing in Apple, you're investing in Amazon, Google, all the main people, plus others. And if there's a loss of one of those companies, you don't feel the hit. That's the beautiful thing. You don't have to keep checking it every day. In fact, the worst thing you can do is be checking it every day. I mean, we had a call today, a live call on our systems, and it was about, well, I want to do day trading. I'm doing this and I'm doing that, but I've lost money. What do you think I should do? Well, day trading takes up a hell of a lot of your time. Index fund investing, how much time does it take you to do your index funds?
I have it on automatic now.
Easy, isn't it?
Every month it just takes a certain amount of money from my account and invest it into. I got one that tracks the S&P 500 and one that tracks the total market.
Exactly.
Index.
So total market's very good, but also emerging markets I think is very good as well, and that's the one I'm actually extending my investments on at the moment because